Good evening and welcome to another weekend edition of the program Capital Market Live on Channels Television. I'm Laddie Williams. Great to have you join us. First off, we'll begin a quick review of the markets, and we start first with the U.S. market, where stocks on Wall Street tumbled on Friday, closing out a losing week and continuing a rougher start to 2022. The Nasdaq Composite was hit the hardest, with Friday's selling sending the tech-heavy index to its worst week since 2020, as it fell by 2.72%. At the same time, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped by 1.30%, while the S&P 500 went down by 1.89%. Both the Dow and S&P 500 closed out their third straight week of losses, in their worst week since 2020. The S&P 500 is off more than 8% from its record close. For the European equities market, they closed sharply low on Friday, tracking a global pullback for risk assets. Germany's DAX and the France CAC index dipped by 1.94 and 1.75% each, while the UK's FTSE 100 index fell by 1.20%. Meanwhile, shares in Asia-Pacific were not left out in a downturn. This comes as Japan's inflation data released on Friday showed that core consumer prices rose for a second month in December at the fastest pace in nearly 2 years, to 0.5% compared to a year earlier. On increase in fuel and raw material costs, you see Japan's Nikkei 225 and China's Shanghai Composite both fell by 0.9% each, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was up by 0.05%. And from there, we move back home, where activities at a local bond market was mostly quiet this week, with few bullish trading sessions and about 5 trading sessions. Following the lower marginal rates at Wednesday's auction, prompting investors to sustain the demand witnessed earlier in the week, the market closed Friday's session on a bullish note, with overall average benchmark yields closed at about 11.79%, with a benchmark yield falling by 0.21% at a bond auction. The DMO offered instruments worth 150 billion naira to investors through a reopening of the 12.50% to FGN January 2026. Elsewhere, activities at the Treasury bills market was quiet this week, while the benchmark yield was mostly unchanged. At the close of trading on Friday, the market was mixed, with buying interest. Average benchmark yields on that segment of the fixed income market fell by about 0.13%. Meanwhile, the OMO bills saw selling interest as yields advanced by plus 5.61. At the unlisted securities market, trading at the NESD OTC Securities Exchange Index closed the week with a negative return for the week. The NESD's key index declined by 0.73% at 744.54 points, while its capitalization fell by the same margin to 630.46 billion naira. However, total volume of securities traded during the week climbed by 61,746% to 653.77 million units, while total value of securities transactions also surged by more than 40% to 14.06 million naira in 45 deals. Priceline Campino Wamco was the lone gainer, while Central Securities Clearing System PLC, which led Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC and NIPCO PLC on the declining table, was also the most traded security within the week. And at the stock market, investors have gained more than 800 billion naira this week, despite recording some amount of profit taking in about 3 sessions. This comes as the all-share index hit a 13-year record high, climbing nearly into the 46,000 level as it gained more than 3% this week, while total value of listed equities fell within the 24 trillion mark, which it was propelled into by telco giant Airtel Africa, Dangote and Boa Cement, as well as Nigerian breweries and Seplat. Sectoral performance across the 5 key counters of listed equities mostly positive, particularly on the oil and gas sector, while the insurance sector was the low decliner with a 0.27% loss. Cotville, led by a pack of 47 gainers, up by 24.32%. See Veritas Capital Assurance top list of 23 losers with more than 8% price load shed, while Computer Warehouse, Transco and FBN Holdings are top 3 most actively traded stocks for the week. Now let's bring in our stockbroker, Abdul Rashid Momo, the head of capital market at TRW Stockbrokers, to talk to us about our new listing outlook on the Nigerian exchange. Great to have you.
Hey, how are you, Laddie? How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you very well. So, why is the Nigerian stock market hitting past their 13-year high with, little foreign participation?
You know, basically, for the past 3 weeks, I've been watching the market, and we at TRW, we normally use what they call technical analysis, which we use to track the market. We have algos that actually track the market. Even all the period of the COVID, when COVID was placed, when people were actually staying at home, there were areas where they gave clients a lot of asset trade online. I mean, to keep them busy. Period. So a lot of inflows were actually coming into the market. You know, what you need to know that technically, when stocks are moving highs, you know that there's a bull trend, and this bull trend has been consistent even from the period of COVID till date. And what has actually helped the market again is throughout, if you check out the history of the market, when you look at from December period, if you look at the market from let's say 2008 till date, you see that we see the period of December is always very good into the year of January, February, March because of the main year ends of financial quoted companies. So we see a lot of activities happening within that period. So for now, the last time we spoke, I was watching the index. Everything has a form of history. We actually watch the history of the market. The market goes down like every, let's say, 2 to 3 years, 40,000 to about 28,000 or 20,000, and goes back. And for every period the market has hit, it's been hitting higher highs. In terms of, let me give you my records. In 2014, when the market plunged to about 20,000 points, it got to about 42,000 points. It came down into 2016 to about 20,000 points. It went back to about 44,000 points in 2018. By 2020, it came down to about 20,000 points and actually hit around 42,000 points. But what happened was that this time around, it didn't go down to about 20,000 points. It rebounded from about 7,000 points. And I was watching closely that the market needed to break about 45,000 to show that, even I said about 44,000 points then, to show that we were now in a new high. And interestingly, this week, the market broke that trend. I celebrated it because this was the beginning of new things. It has been a barrier for the market for the past. It's been a barrier for the market for the past 10 years. It's been all struggles and struggles and struggles. But for now, it's broken that barrier.
What do you think is prompting
this? I'm sure of above 45,000 points. Yeah, when you look at the big stocks, those are the big names. The Airtel, the MTN, the Dangote Cement, then inclusion of BUA in more momentum into the market, because those stocks for the past 3 years, we'll be monitoring them. They actually start October, November, December to January, and they stall around February. They are actually the first movers of the market, like they are the generals before the second troop starts to hit in. And the second troop that starts hitting it will be the banking sector. This is towards when those financials start hitting the market. Give or take, yeah, okay. So give or take, we should. Okay.
Carry on. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I said, give or take from how this trend is going. It's I don't want to be too optimistic. There is still no corrections yet, because most of the stocks, like the banking sectors, none of them so far have seen that have broken any resistant levels. Until those levels are broken, before I can tell you there's going to be another bull trend. But if all things being equal, normally the first quarter is always the best period. We'll see rallies into May, June. After May, June, the market stalls for some time. But if the good thing happens, I always want to be on the positive side. We could see the market hitting about 47.
47. Okay.
Is,
okay. I was going to ask I was going to ask you, when do you see, the all-share index breaking the 50K range? And we're talking 47 now.
Is there? I'm very, very, in terms of what I say, I always speak it bit by bit. Every trend must move, yeah, every trend goes its own way. For now, it has broken 44. I wish I could share my screen, then you understand what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, so that your viewers can actually see the whole thing I'm talking about.
Okay, we
Let me
can
see if I
get
can
that.
share my screen.
We can get that,
Okay.
some other time. Yeah. But
Okay,
now
okay,
let's
okay. So,
let's look at the stocks now. Which stocks would you say stood out for you in the week?
well, if you look at for the week, we actually look at, and the funny thing that this eating now, apart from Airtel, that gain about 10%. It's Cordville, Eternal, and Fitzin. Actually, top gainers from what I've seen for the week. Cordville about 13.5, Eternal 13.9, Fitzin 10.8, Airtel about 10%. If you look at it, it's not really, in quotes, I would say it's a genuine bull market, right? Because when you see a genuine bull market, you see the blue chip stocks actually moving the market. And the only thing that has actually helped this so far has been Airtel. Airtel has been the one that has actually moved. And you know what I say? The big ones we have to move. Later, we'll now start seeing stocks like the Zenith banks, the Access banks, the UBA. But those ones, or the GTBs, for now, those stocks have not broken any resistance levels. So until those levels are broken, then I can start supporting that your 52,000 range. So for now, we just have.
All right, so we'll just we'll keep it at
Market is
47
playing.
for
It's
now.
Yes, for now.
Okay. All right, but we've seen, global markets, we've seen a lot major sell-offs in those markets, because we see rate hikes, rattling, those markets. And, we have the MPC meeting next week. What are your expectations?
I think basically that's what, one thing that market the market already discounts itself. What what we expected, like what have happened like 6 months ago, the market has already taken in everything into consideration. And I know that the MPC meeting, no matter what comes out, possibly to some extent is going to be flat, because we've been seeing all this in there. I mean, it has remained unchanged for a long time. So basically, what is motivating, apart from the MPC meeting, that will actually strike if they are better. How will I put it? From what they bring out at the end of the day, it might help to buffer the market. You understand? You see, one thing you have to know about the market, that the market, as I said, is the discounting mechanism. It moves ahead of time. So let's say we know that some of these stocks are going to do well. Some players actually move the market, attract investors, and when they come in, because sometimes you ask yourself, a company declares a good result, and the result comes out, and at that same period, the market starts to drop. Why? All they've done is that the smart money already know that this stock is going to, the results are good, so they they spike those prices high. You, that is the latecomer, you come in and the stocks are actually dumped on you. Now, dumped on you in case that there are two things you have to know. In the market, we always have two players at any point in time. We have the investors and we have the traders. I fall in the category of traders, because mine is, at any point in time, I have to buy low and sell high. In terms of the investors, they look for value. They look for returns on investment, what they get. If any of these stocks now, let's say Zenith, we all know that the year end, Zenith, Access, GTB, I'm talking about the bank sector, we know, we have an idea what they're going to pay us at the end of the day. But if you look at it from November till date, some of these stocks have actually moved more than what the companies are going to pay at the end of the year. You understand? So if a stock has moved about 3 naira, as a trader, what am I waiting for to collect dividend? But as an investor, if you look at it in long term, this is more than 10% or 12%. They stick to it. So at any point in time, there are two players. nobody loses. I'll use the word. It's only when the market is down, everybody loses. But as long as the market is up, everybody is a winner.
All right, Mr. Momba. I guess the word is buy low and sell high. All right, we're gonna come back to you. You know, after the break, we'll continue the conversation in a moment. That's Mr. Abdurrashid Momo right there. We'll bring it back later on when we come back from this break. Do stay with us. This is Capital Market. Welcome back. You're still watching Capital Market live on Channels Television. Now let's bring you a recap of some of the happenings within the week in the capital market. The National Assembly has proposed a bill which would empower the Securities and Exchange Commission to effectively regulate the market and impose stiffer punishment on promoters of Ponzi schemes as well as other illegal investment schemes. The bill, which has passed the second reading on Thursday, is part of an amendment to the Investment and Securities Act of 2007, which also establishes the SEC as the primary regulator of Nigeria's capital market. If the proposed bill is passed into law, operators or promoters of Ponzi or other pyramid investment schemes could face up to 10 years imprisonment if convicted by a court. Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission has commended the Nigerian Exchange Limited and other stakeholders for their collaborative development initiatives, which helped Nigeria's capital market scale through the economic challenges of COVID-19. The Director General of the SEC, Mr. Lamido Yuguda, who made this known at a meeting with capital market stakeholders in Abuja, says the Commission remains particularly supportive of the NGX for the significant role it plays towards developing the market. Explained that although the last 2 years have been challenging for the domestic capital market, largely due to the pandemic, the NGX has continued to deploy capable resources to tackle elements militating against the market's growth. The Nigerian Exchange Limited has laid out some initiatives which is expected to create an enabling environment capable of attracting new listings on the domestic bourse. The closing gong ceremony held on Tuesday this week to commemorate the facts behind the listing of Boa Foods, the Chief Executive Officer of the NGX Limited, Mr. Temi Kokola, listed 3 strategies which he believes would encourage more companies to list their shares on the domestic bourse and improve foreign investors' interest in Nigeria's stock market. Final December 21, the NGX listed the shares of Boa Foods and Ranchers Global. Take a listen.
We're taking a very strong and hard look at our listing rules, our listing conditions, and the hurdles that you have to cross to list. And we're really trying to ask if we can modify those and make them more fit for purpose. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is around even just the capital base that, you know, when corporates come to list on the exchange, one of the things that they hope is that that listing can be successful, that they can raise the amount of capital that they want to raise. So for us, we have to backward integrate and really ask the sources of capital in our market, how do we diversify them? How do we deepen them? And that speaks to how we attract more retail flows to our market, how we attract more international foreign flows, Nigerians in diaspora flows into our market. And I'd say that number 3 is really just also working with our stakeholders. As you know, the exchange is regulated by the SEC, who is the apex regulator. We're doing a lot of work with them, really just to address many of the teething issues that face our capital markets. I think across these 3 sort of verticals, we should be able to solve some of these challenges.
Mr. Temi Bukola right there. All right, let's bring back Abdurrashid Momo, Head Capital Markets at TRW Stockbrokers. Thank you for staying on the show.
Thank you.
All right, so in the final days of 2021, the Nigerian Exchange successfully listed 2 new companies on the premium board and consumer goods space. How would you describe these new listings?
Great. Those, if you look at those stocks, they are very strong brand names. You understand? For a country to be listed first on the premium board is not a joking matter. How will I look at it? Those stocks alone have contributed to taking the index to new highs from what we have seen so far. You can see what Boa Foods have done since it listed on the floor of the exchange. Boa Foods have moved from about, let's see, Boa Foods have moved from, hold on please, I need to load it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, everything I use is more like an oracle. I actually look at my chart for every analysis I make.
Yes.
No worry, we can continue, but from what I've put a lot into the market, and
Right.
from what is seen is going to drive other sectors that actually belong to that anything that has to do with food in terms of production. Like I was saying last time, I said companies like PZ, Cadbury might actually benefit from the movement of Boa foods, and we are beginning to even see that in the market already. Anything that has to do with food, you understand, Boa food has actually is going to drive those stocks up in the long term. In the market, every stock has a pair that it actually moves with. Like when you look at the banking sector, we always compare stocks like Zenith, GTB, they move in pairs. We compare Access Bank to about with UBA. Sometimes we compare Fidelity and FCMB. So at times you see that stocks actually move in pairs. So for now, Boa Food is on its own, but with time it's going to trigger, because what will happen is that when investors see that the stock is too expensive for them to buy, it's like when you go to the market, when you cannot buy this, you look for an alternative. If you know you cannot buy Maggi cube, you look for the lower ones.
A
This
substitute.
Ajinomoto or something like that. It's
Right.
substitute. So that's what's happening. So
Okay.
with these new ones they've brought in now, it's going to trigger, if investors know they cannot buy the expensive ones, they will go close to the ones that are actually alternatives. And
All right. All right. So
everything about the market that they always drive.
okay. So it's 2022. What are your expectations? For listings in this year.
Well, so far, despite all the COVID era, things have really been good for the market. I wouldn't say things are good for Nigeria, but as they normally say, the stock market is the barometer of every economy. A lot of people might not see, yeah, people are actually saying that things are on the high side, but if you look deep, the economy is actually doing well. You understand from points of view, but basically, as I tell people, the stock market is the barometer of any economy. Now, if you compare the stock market to what is happening now, you see that market has actually hit a new high. It has hit a new high this period. So there's something that, apart from the new listing, for companies to be listed on the NGX as it is now, that means there's more confidence, which gives investors confidence. MTN was listed, it's not out, but I know it will be oversubscribed. So for any listing that is coming up now, I see that Nigerians are actually putting money to actually invest in those companies. You show that there's confidence. So
All right.
if they get it right, a lot of them are going to be coming in soon. I know some power plants will be coming into the market, which will actually boost the market more. I know that all those will be subscribed at the end of the day.
All right.
So which gives actually, I think we are going to see quality stocks and investors driving into those ideas and investing into them.
Okay. Anyway, so the House of Reps, they've passed for the second reading a bill to, repeal and reenact the Nigerian Capital Market Investments and, Securities Act. This bill is going to come down hard on Ponzi scheme promoters. What do you think about this?
Well, we are guided by the NGX and we are guided by SEC. And as the stockbrokers, we have our rules and regulations. We follow them diligently. So I wouldn't know anybody that does not follow the rules of the exchange. Then because they don't believe, or they don't allow people to go into all these kind of things. They know that investors, investors have to be protected at any point in time. I know a lot of us that actually follow the rules and regulations. I don't think we have any issue with that.
Right.
Anybody that is doing all those schemes, I don't think they're actually members of the Nigerian, the NGX market. because
Okay.
we know how strict SEC is. Nobody wants to be suspended from SEC. That's the worst thing that can happen to any stock broking
I
firm.
can imagine.
SEC coming to you and they hit you, you are out of business. So
All
I
right.
don't think we want to. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Moma, I guess follow the rules and everything will be okay. All right, Mr. Moma, I want to
Yes.
thank you so much for coming on Capital Markets, sharing your evening, your Saturday evening with us. Thank you so much, Abdurrashid Momo, Head Capital
Thank you.
Markets, TRW Stockbrokers. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, and enjoy the new high.
The new
Up
highs.
NGX, up new high. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, now, so all eyes on the CBN MPC First meeting in 2022. I'll give you a brief outlook now. We see CBN is also to roll over about 129.33 billion naira T-bills maturities at the PMA and NTB auction to shape direction of, T-bills market yields, bond yields to settle lower on liquidity reinvestments from maturing January 2022 bonds and coupon payments back. We see cautious trading is expected to dominate the equities market. We see talks of rate hikes globally and, if possible, maybe here in Nigeria. So right now, it's cautious optimism in the market. All right, so that's it on the program tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Remember to stay safe and enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.